People care about what they eat, and when they know that pollinators are a component in nearly 1 in 3 bites of food, people want to support their own health by helping pollinators. That direct connection between conservation action and human benefit is a very powerful part of the pollinator story. The Pollinator Partnership was born out of a desire to inspire people to act, and through their conservation actions, secure a sustainable ecological and agricultural future. Our overriding goal is to preserve all the plant and animal life on Earth in all of its precious biodiversity. Protecting pollinators, in a very practical sense, is a means to achieve that end. Pollinator Partnership's objective is a 3-part plan, and it's focused on strategic remedies for the main drivers of pollinator decline and instability: loss of habitat, loss of research funding, and a lack of issue salience. Current and future decision makers simply don't understand the importance of pollinators. Our plan attacks on 3 fronts. To increase habitat, we aim to enroll 100 million acres of pollinator habitat in our SHARE program, engaging farms, homes, parks, schools, and industry in simply having areas reserved for the environment. SHARE. For research, our goal is to raise $500,000 annually, crucial dollars, as government funding recedes. For issue salience, we plan to engage current leaders through our Congressional Pollinator Protection Caucus, which we support administratively. And for future leaders, we're engaging students in all 50 states to experience our Be Smart School Garden Kit. Landscapes, research, and people who can help will all benefit from our actions, and importantly, so will pollinators. Leveraging the dollars that any nonprofit receives is a critical function in today's environment, and Pollinator Partnership is uniquely successful in this area. As just one example, the North American Pollinator Protection Campaign, or NAPC, was conceived as one of our signature initiatives and is managed by the Pollinator Partnership. NAPC, under Pollinator Partnership's leadership, brings together concerned stakeholders from every perspective in pollinator health. This process leverages the interest, expertise, and energy from dozens of organizations to form a strategic network that systematically addresses pollinator issues in their totality. Every partner helps connect the dots in creating both a sound strategic plan for pollinator health and in executing the plan. Both planning and implementation are done on a broad scale. Pollinator Partnership brings people together, and real change is the result. Three things make our organization effective and unique. First, we engage all stakeholders. Second, we focus on practical accomplishments and strategic planning that seek progress, not perfection. And third, we base everything we do on a platform of sound science. When you engage all stakeholders, you're required to listen as well as talk, and that makes your ultimate positions rich with insight and fewer barriers for success. When you seek practical accomplishments, you try to move the agenda forward continuously, and with the steady effort we've put forth since 1997, those actions have resulted in significant progress. And when you base your decisions on the best science, you're not muddled in fights that are big on publicity and small on solutions. In 2003, Pollinator Partnership engaged 2 Stanford social scientists in the compilation of all the published studies on program metrics involving behavior change. We've made that compilation available as a book entitled Measuring Results. Measuring results is still a hallmark in the understanding of how to design as well as how to measure the effectiveness of behavior change programs. And this is the key factor in our programs as we work to change the very behaviors that are triggering the problem. As a result of our intimate knowledge of the science of metrics, we design as much measurement into our project logic models and implementation as possible. Our organization is viewed by many as the go-to organization for credible information about pollinators. We run a listserv serving thousands of scientists and interested individuals around the world. Our website is the first stop for the media and for everyday people looking to enhance their own environments. Our research sponsorship funds the world's great institutions, as well as smaller qualified concepts by on-the-ground practitioners in genetics, nutrition, pesticides, pathogens, and disease. What many people may not know is that we also produce original research and analysis commissioned by governments and private industry to assess the success of on-the-ground programs and to initiate reclamation and restoration of degraded landscapes. Our on-the-ground activities are as vibrant as our outreach and influence programs. Pollinator Partnership has accomplished so much. One scientist called us the most important organization you never heard of. We changed the world's dialogue from bee issues to pollinator issues. Students now want to plant pollinator gardens, farmers plant pollinator buffers, and legislators try to enact pollinator protections. It's a shift in thinking that will provide more protection for bees and all pollinators. We were directly responsible for the first-time inclusion of provisions for pollinators in the Farm Bill of 2008. And we supported and coordinated a white paper by multiple scientists that has single-handedly prevented the commercial importation of non-native bumblebees in countries across the globe. These examples underscore the comprehensive yet very detailed accomplishments of the Pollinator Partnership and its signature initiative, the North American Pollinator Protection Campaign. The first problem is that pollinators are small and nearly invisible, and the work that they do on our behalf is hidden from most people. It takes time to explain that this is not the story of honey, but the story of food production and a vital ecosystem service that's in trouble. And our second problem is that many people fear the very animals we're trying to protect. The thought of bees and bats conjures up some significant reluctance in many people. And finally, new threats come from uninformed advocates who seize the pollinator issue as a means to generate fundraising campaigns that ignore the realities for pollinators. Undoing the miscommunication perpetrated by these groups is time-consuming and requires resources better spent actually solving the problems pollinators face. We received a major multi-year grant, and it transformed our operation. We were able to hire scientists specializing in pollination as well as plant ecology, who helped launch specific on-the-ground initiatives that we controlled rather than simply influenced. With more of that kind of support, we would exponentially increase the landscape-level conservation in strategic pollinator hotspots. We would develop regional focal points to support the landscape work of farmers and public land managers. We would begin a long-awaited DNA barcoding library to identify pollinator species, a critical piece in taxonomic monitoring. And finally, we would influence as many as 17 million acres of new habitat along roadways that would reduce the carbon footprint of landscapes, increase the carbon sequestration, increase the drought-tolerant native plant communities, and provide aesthetically beautiful, safe roadsides that serve as habitat for the mini-fauna, our bees, butterflies, and birds, and more animals that pollinate. They're the animals on which we depend. A gap still exists in engaging people in the pollinator issue. Simple, clear messages directed at targeted audiences would help fill the gap and increase knowledge and action for pollinators. The way we approach conservation in a cooperative vein also fills a need. Given our considerable success, we feel confident that a visionary individual or foundation will be interested in supporting the principles that we adhere to and be eager to help perpetuate our model of cooperation, conservation, and change. A model that uniquely serves the problem-solving needs of the 21st century, not just for the issues that face pollinators and the ecosystem service they supply, but for all the resource challenges our world will face.